2020 was a weird year for movies. While many things can be said about 2020, I want to talk about the movies from 2020 that kept me going. I didn't see every movie in 2020, but I wanted to see as much as I could, or at least the movies I want to see. Since a lot of movie theaters were closed, many movies were put on streaming services such as Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, and more. It is a shame since probably at the time most movie theaters could reopen, they're still being streamed nowadays. And I'm hoping that in 2021 I get to see more movies in theaters on the big screen where movies belong. Movies honestly are like video game consoles in 2020 since they're exclusive to the streaming service you may or may not have paid for. If you want to see a movie on Netflix that's exclusive to Hulu but you only have a Netflix account, well, you can't watch it. Still, one of the things I'm most glad about 2020 is that despite COVID-19, there were so many good movies this year, and I loved so many of them. Many of them made me laugh, made me cry, or something just a bit extra. With that said, I want to make a top 10 list of all my favorite movies in 2020, which I don't really do since I don't honestly see that many movies at once, but I saw a total of 56 movies this year. And based on what I personally wanted to watch and what I did see, I think I have a pretty unique top 10 list. Of course, if there is a movie I missed, that's my bad, and hopefully I'll be able to watch it soon. There are a lot of other movies that could be on my top 10 2020 movie list, but these were my favorite. By the end of this year, I want to let you guys know that I plan to see as many movies I can or choose to see in 2021. I really enjoy this and I want to keep doing it. I hope you enjoy my list. Keep in mind, I won't go into too much depth with these movies since I want to talk about what I like about them the most, and in case you haven't seen them yet, so no spoilers, okay? Thank you, and I hope you enjoy my list. Number 10, Get Duped. This is a British comedy exclusive to Prime Video and technically released in 2019 at the South by Southwest Film Festival as Boys in the Wood. Thank God they changed that. It was released, at least in the States, in 2020, and why is it on my list? It's so dang funny. This is definitely one of the movies this year that made me laugh the most, but it was pretty sweet, and it has a totally bonkers plot to it as well. The movie is about one shy and three troublemaking British teenagers planning to hike the Scottish Highlands. And that's all I want to say without spoiling it, because what makes this movie work is its randomness. Its scope, and outright fun and likable performances from its cast. I highly recommend this film, and I hope you like it too. Number 9, Onward. When this movie came out, everyone I knew said this movie was good, but didn't meet the expectations of a Pixar movie should meet, and I highly disagree. I think Onward is just as good as Toy Story, Finding Nemo, Inside Out. It's just not as thought-provoking or better than those movies. It is better than Cars 2 though. Onward is about two elf brothers, awkward teenager Ian, played by Tom Holland, and his older, rougher lover of all things magical, Barley, played by Chris Pratt. They live in what used to be fantasy world, now turned to modern day suburbans and cities we live in, yet magic is forgotten. But when they find a way to bring their dead father back, the two will go on a journey just to find a little magic left in the world. This movie might have personally connected to me more than other people since I have two younger brothers. But I still think this movie exceeds in its comedy, its story, and its relationships about family. I hope people don't hate on this movie just because they have higher expectations for Pixar, since for me, it met mine. Number 8, Kajillionaire. I remember back when movie theaters started to reopen near me, and I saw the poster for this movie. I looked it up and I told myself, I've got to go see it. And thank God I did, because I loved so much about it. The movie is about a young woman played by Evan Rachel Wood who lives with her manipulative con artist parents who take advantage of her to pull off cons and heists, and she thinks she likes it. Until Melanie, played by Gina Rodriguez, comes into her life and everything she thought she once knew changes. This movie was very funny, but in my opinion, I wish it had more jokes since it's holding me back from liking it more. What I loved about was its story and the stars' performances that led to some of my favorite acting and characters this year that I hope more people see it. I will say this movie could have been PG-13 if they cut just one scene from it, but that's just a nitpick. I hope this movie gets more attention, and I hope more people see it very soon. Number 7. I'm Thinking of Ending Things. This was the first movie I've personally seen by Charlie Kaufman. I know who he is, what his work is, and how weird it is, but it's the right kind of weird that both haunts and delights you. Just maybe more the former than the latter. The movie is about a young woman who goes to see her new boyfriend's parents who live in a secluded farm. What I thought about the movie before I saw it was from the premise, it sounded very similar to Get Out. That was a scary movie with, a similar premise, but it is not that. For those who don't know Charlie Kaufman's style, it's basically a mix of haunting visuals and stories with metaphors that'll confuse you, but make you think. It's really hard to sum it up, but you will know his work when you see it, and this movie made me want to see more of his work. With one exception for one scene that just drags on, and it drags on for a while. This movie made me feel more scared than I had in a while, thanks to its mind-bending story, and they constantly made me guess every second what I just saw, but loving what I did see. This movie isn't for everyone, I can't stress that enough, but for me, there's too much of it that I love, and I will never forget. Number 6. Run. This movie, without question, is so good thanks to its execution and the movie stars Sarah Paulson and newcomer Kiera Allen. The story is about a 17-year-old homeschool wheelchair-using teenager who is very smart and plans to leave for college soon, but her mother, her sole caretaker, is hiding something from her. As she grew up under her mother's wing her whole life due to several illnesses, she never thought more about her until one fatal accident will reveal everything. With a certain story that compares to another Hulu exclusive programming, which I can't stretch out enough without spoilers, but honestly, it's so refreshing thanks to its well-written characters. As Chloe, who's told to be smart in the movie, and she truly is, that she doesn't do anything stupid, and makes you want to root for her all the more. Sarah Paulson does such a great performance, and it even scared me at times. This movie wasn't just good thanks to its clever writing, amazing performances, and good direction. It was great. Number 5. Sound of Metal. I've been waiting for a movie like this for a long time. Technically, like Get Duped, it was released in 2019 at the Toronto International Film Festival and released in theaters and Prime this year, but I won't ignore what was one of the most passionate films I saw this year. The story is about a rock drummer named Ruben, played by Riz Ahmed, who starts to lose his hearing, and with the support of his girlfriend / musical partner Lou, played by Olivia Cook, he heads out to find a way to continue the life he knew and the new one given to him. The movie is about people in the ASL community and about how being deaf isn't the end of the world and can open new opportunities for them thanks to its community and support. The movie itself shows a very likable Ruben just trying to find the passion to live and what's best for him and Lou, as you can't take back what you lost, and it's especially reinforced with its ending. There is so much to love about this movie with its all-around likable cast, its sound design, and a huge heart to center I hope people can rock out to once in a while too. Number 4. Feels Good Man. I want to be clear, I knew nothing about Pepe the Frog before I saw the documentary. So with first impressions, this documentary shook me in ways I haven't felt in so long. The documentary centers around Matt Fury, a comic creator who created a character turned meme, Pepe the Frog, which at first becomes a great hit, but turns dark whenever people use the meme in selfish and darker ways. That's all I wanted to say, since what I didn't like about it was sometimes its visuals and some weak interviews. But I have to praise it hard for its message, and shows a truly sad story makes you hope the hero triumphs in the end. And hopefully, a similar cases don't happen again soon. This true story should be remembered and shown to everyone. And once you see the film, you'll get why. Number 3. Soul. If Pixar's Onward didn't meet your expectations, then this Pixar movie did. The story is about Joe, played by Jamie Foxx, a middle school band teacher who might finally have his big shot at playing in the big times, but after an accident, he finds himself on his way to the great beyond, but not wanting to accept it's his time. He ends up in the great before, where souls are given their personalities and their lives on Earth. There, Joe meets Soul 22, who doesn't see the point of living, so Joe has to convince not only her why living is great, but what he's living for. When I saw the trailer for this movie and what it was going to be about, I thought it was going to be one thing, but it was certainly something else. At least for me. This movie was just so good with its themes and messages that would truly make people appreciate living life. Personally, the only thing I wish I could have liked more about this movie was to see it on the big screen, but was put as a Disney Plus exclusive film due to COVID, as it looks so gorgeous. I hope to see this movie over and over again, like all the other Pixar films that changed many people's lives, like mine. Number 2, Dick Johnson is dead. I was kind of hesitant to put a documentary like this and Feels Good Man on the list, but considering how good they were, I don't care. Especially with the acclaim this movie got, as it currently has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. The documentary is about filmmaker Kirsten Johnson about making a movie where her father plays himself, and several ways he could be killed off, since in reality he's nearing the end of his life, and this could help both of them accept what will be lost soon. This premise sounds pretty weird, and I honestly didn't see something with that being the concept would be as good as I heard, but luckily it was. The documentary is easily universally relatable to, since I imagine practically everyone has lost a loved one once in their life, and this documentary reminded me about making life the most fun it could be before it's up. While I probably watched Soul again more times than Dick Johnson is dead, I think this movie did its execution much better. I hope to see more work from Kirsten Johnson soon. That will hopefully bring more tears to my eyes, and yours too. Before I say what was my number 1 movie of the year, here are of course my honorable mentions. A Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon. A great follow-up to one of the most loving anime films of all time I hope more people see. Tenet, a visual spectacular that people should see at least one time on the big screen, like I did. And Noah Holmes, a fun and well-acted film that hopefully will get a sequel sooner than later. The Rental, a very well-executed film by Dave Franco I hope gets more attention. VHS, a unique and downright hilarious comedy that I highly recommend. The Way Back, Ben Affleck at his best, and a great film as well. Sylvie's Love, a loving and easily likable romantic comedy I wish more movies were like. Mank, a great look at the life of the man who wrote Citizen Kane, and it's truly a good spotlight for Gary Oldman. The Boys in the Band, a hilarious and well-acted look into the lives of gay friends based off a great play. Wonder Woman, 1984. While other people might disagree, this sequel is more fun and colorful than the original. Palm Springs, a really funny movie using the time loop trope made great thanks to its stars Andy Samberg and Kristen Miloshi. And finally, Borat's subsequent movie film, or Borat 2 as I call it. A super offensive but downright hilarious mockumentary that will either offend you or make you laugh your butt off, but was definitely the latter for me. There were a lot of other great movies this year, but this list has to end at some point. So here is my number 1 movie of the year. Number 1, Wolfwalkers. In my opinion, this movie is practically perfect in its stories and visuals, and I hope to see it 10 times again soon. The story is about a young girl named Robin who discovered something supernatural, and that's really all I can say without spoiling it, since I knew nothing about it before I saw it. And I loved everything about it after I did see it. I only saw without sound clips of the film online, seeing one of the most beautiful animated films I've ever seen. This film was made by the same people who made The Secret of Cows and Song of the Sea. So if you've seen those movies, you'll recognize the art style, but it's never been more better than here. The film not only looks dazzling and elegant, but its story is so amazing and it excels at its dramatic, comedic, and heartfelt moments. I was so glad I looked up afterwards to see people thought the same thing about it, and if you haven't seen it yet, please do. It will leave a smile on your face as it did for me, unlike any other movie not only this year, but for a long time. I hope you really enjoyed my top 10 list of the best movies of 2020. And while I haven't seen every movie this year, I'm glad I saw what I could. I hope I can say goodbye to 2020 as more movie theaters will reopen next year, and hopefully in 2020 we'll have more good movies I would love to see. Thanks for watching.